Welcome to the Revolutionary CEO podcast. I'm your host, Latesha Lynch, wine lover, brand snob, proud boy mom, and Atlanta-based entrepreneur. When I was laid off from my dream marketing job at 8 weeks pregnant, I knew I couldn't rely on corporations to provide me with a stable income. I launched my own business and hit 6 figures in my first full year. I want to help other female service-based entrepreneurs and coaches build and leverage their brand authority so they can confidently sell their services and programs at a premium price point to create a lasting legacy and generate independent wealth. Tune in every Wednesday for solo episodes and conversations with amazing self-made, multi-6 and 7-figure women all about marketing, sales, mindset, self-care, entrepreneurship, and motherhood to inspire you and give you actionable steps to successfully market and sell your high-ticket services and programs while having a life. Let's get into it. I want to have an honest conversation about what happened when I stopped trying to impress people on Instagram, because I specifically leverage Instagram to sell my high ticket and premium services. So if you are trying to leverage Instagram, if that's where you get your best clients from and you want to sell high ticket services or premium services successfully or coaching programs, then this is a great conversation for you. And I always start by telling my own story because I am literally sharing this from experience. So I want to talk about how stressful Instagram used to be for me and how much time I actually spent ridiculously creating all of this stuff and prepping a million graphics. I just want you to know that I know the feeling of going back and cringing and looking at how bad my hair looks and flubbing over my words and all the ums and ahs that I think people are judging me by, and going back and re-recording what felt like a million takes for all of my videos. I used to do that. I also used to spend a lot of time on Instagram. It was such a time-consuming thing. I'm spending time liking all these people in this hashtag and not only engaging, but also making graphics and posting the graphics and all of the things that come with you managing an Instagram account. I know that that's something that's very stressful. It can be when it becomes your life. But if you have an online business where you're selling to other online business owners, then it's kind of one of the biggest and best areas to get leads. I get over 90% of my clients because of what I do on Instagram. One of the biggest things that changed my business is the fact that I started showing up on video. And I know that showing up on video, you're like, well, now my hair has to look good and all these things. But I want to first make a case for video and then talk to you about how I was spending my time. So I'm making a quick case for video because one of the biggest things that happens when you're trying to sell high ticket, and the reason that people have a hard time converting or even attracting the right people, is because selling high ticket or premium requires trust. It requires an emotional investment that your ideal client has to have in connection with you and your business and your brand. Your ideal clients have to be emotionally invested in your brand to even want to spend that kind of money with you. And I don't know about you, but I'm not emotionally invested in anything that I don't trust or know really well. I'm not emotionally invested in anyone unless I really know them, I've connected with them, because when you're putting your trust in someone, it's because they've developed a relationship with you where you've seen examples of how they treat people or what they're capable of. And you know, okay, I can trust them to treat me the same, if not better, right? So let's go back to the frustration of Instagram. I know that so much of what the social media gurus out there are telling you is how many times you're supposed to post on Instagram, because Instagram has made recommendations like, post, a reel a day and post on stories every day and make sure you post to your feed 3 to 5 times a week. Like, it's like a lot, right? And I know when you hear that, you're like, but I barely have the time right now to post the crap that I'm posting. I barely have the time. But the reason we're posting in the first place is to sell our high ticket services. And what you've tried to do on social media, part of the problem is when you're getting on Instagram, what you're doing is trying to say all the things that you think people want to hear. So it's hard to be someone that's not you, right? It's hard to make up a story or a scenario that fits a narrative that other people have for you rather than just fitting into your own narrative. You're trying not to ruffle feathers, even though you have a strong opinion that differs from the normal teachings of all the average boss babe culture people, because you know that that's what everyone likes. That's what everyone's sharing. You want to be shared. You want to be liked. You want to go viral. So you're thinking, if I do the things that they're doing, it'll work out really well for me. But it's hard to maintain that, right? You're frustrated with that. And most importantly, you're posting more graphic content, like graphics with, cute pictures and, numbers and things flashing and animations and GIFs and all of the cute things with these educational posts, because that's what people really engage with. They like when you give them the ABCs and 1, 2, 3s of how to do something. You get likes galore. So this is what you're like, I have to do this. But what I want you to think about is why that stuff isn't working. What you're doing for yourself is you're creating a stressful association with showing up on camera, with actually showing up. The reason that you're not showing up on video isn't necessarily just about how you look, it's also, well, the burden. I have to speak proper English. I don't want to frustrate people. I want people to like me. People don't show up to my videos. Like, you're stressing yourself out. And that's what I used to do. Every time before I would show up on video, I'm like, okay, I have to wear a cute outfit. And then my hair looks crazy. So now I have to make sure my hair looks good. And oh my God, I got to wear my favorite lipstick. And now I have to sound perfect. And oh, last time I posted something about this, I got a negative DM. So I don't want to say that one thing. Like, it was stressful. And what that made me do is kind of stop showing up. And when I did show up, I stopped showing my face or video. And what I was mostly focused on is just showing up, like I said, a bunch of graphics and cute things. But it would take me all day to make those effing graphics. It would take me all day to, sit on there and figure out how I wanted it to look. And then I would finally post it. And yeah, I would get a bunch of likes. But I'm like, no one's actually DMing me. I'm not getting any clients. So what's the deal? Well, when it comes to high ticket, if you're showing up on Instagram, you got to show your face. And when I'm talking about showing your face, I'm saying if you want to do it the faster, better way to create that trust, I'm going to highly recommend video content. Because what I feel like is, first of all, let's talk about the stress of how you look. You're creating a stressful association with showing up on camera, which is why you're probably having a difficult time coming over to the dark side of being on camera, IG lives, IGTV, IG reels. It's because it's frustrating. You're like, oh my God, now I have to look good. But if you feel like in order for you to show your face on social media, you need a full makeover or makeup artist or professional camera studio lighting or a perfect backdrop and 10,000 followers need to be watching you live, then you're never going to go on. But also, people don't know that that's what you're going to be doing. So they don't know to start showing up. You actually have to build an audience for them to start feeling, oh my gosh, she's going live. Let me go watch. So the first couple of lives, you got to expect maybe you might have one person on there. You might not even have any people showing up to your live, but are you going live to see 1 million people watching you while you're doing it? Or are you trying to make an impact with your ideal clients and trying to help them have a transformation and see that your offer can really help them? Because if that's the case, then your focus shouldn't be how many people are looking at you when you're on there right away or how they think you look. It should be, is my message good enough? Am I making an impact? And when that becomes the focus and it's less about how you look, then it'll make it a little bit easier, right? So it doesn't work for you showing up on camera when you're showing up on Instagram because you're trying to impress people. If every time you think about showing up, it stresses you out, then mentally you're going to begin to associate being on video with a negative thing. I want you to start thinking about showing up without the expectation of being perfect or impressing others, because you'll see how freeing it is. Just show up to serve your important content despite not having perfect hair or perfect makeup. Start showing people that you will be coming on regularly so that more than one person actually starts to watch. For example, think about like movies, big blockbuster movies that are going to come out. They don't just pop up on a Friday and be like, okay, the movie's here. I hope you guys show up. They're in preparation of getting people excited about the fact that this big movie's coming out. They have all of those trailers, different types of trailers that come out in commercials. They pay for all that advertising and so that people can see and get excited and know what to expect. As a business owner, they don't know to expect that you're going to be someone showing up every single day or once a week on live if you've never gone live. If you never do videos, they don't know to watch your videos. They don't know to be excited about that. You have to give them a little hint of the fact that this is going to be consistent so that they trust you. Start showing people that you're going to come on regularly so that more than one person actually watch. And remember, you can't just show up once. Like a preview doesn't just show once, they show it repeatedly and drive and create that interest. What I also want you to think about is show up as yourself. So the stress really comes from how you feel you need to look, sound, act. But if you actually just show up as yourself when you appear on video on Instagram, it'll make it less stressful for you since you're not putting on a performance. This is where I'm talking about when I stopped trying to impress people on Instagram. So for so long, and I just like to have honest conversations with you guys. For so long, I felt like I needed to look a certain way. And this stems as a Black person specifically. So any of my minorities might understand. But if you're just a woman, period, you'll get it too. But as a Black woman in corporate, if I'm going on a job interview, I'm like, okay, my butt needs to be covered. I don't want my hair to look, and I'm doing air quotes, ghetto. I don't want to be perceived that I'm not smart or I'm going to not be a hard worker, because there are a lot of stereotypes that come with being Black. I need to come in and smile because I don't want them to think I'm an angry Black woman. Like, there are so many things I'm worried about. And this happens for so many minorities where we have to be very careful walking into a room because appearances really precedes us. Our reputations precede us as well, just because of our minority group. But now think about it from the woman's perspective. As women, in school, when we get in trouble for our attire, it's usually the women that get in trouble, right? Well, your skirt is too short and you're distracting the boys, or women can't wear this or that. It's women are controlled a lot by society and society's judgments on what we can and can't do, what we can and can't wear, what we can and can't do to our own bodies. So as a woman, I know that naturally. I've had guys walk up to me on the street and be like, "Why aren't you smiling?" Because I don't want to. But this is what happens to women. There's no man that walks up to another man and says, "Why aren't you smiling today? You're too pretty not to smile." I want to start doing that to guys, by the way. "You're too handsome not to smile. Smile a little more." Anyway, so the point that I'm trying to make is show up as yourself, because it makes it less stressful. Whether you're talking to one person, whether one person is listening or 200, remember that every follower is a living, breathing human being and possibly a client. So if you only need 5 clients a month, then why do you need 10,000 followers? Why do you need 50 million people listening to your live? Focus on deeply connecting with 60 followers so that, that's 5 clients a month. If you can deeply connect with 5 of your followers every single month, or 60 of your total followers, then you have 5 clients a month to hit whatever income goal you have, right? Commit to consistency, and growth will actually happen naturally, because Instagram isn't a race to get the most followers. It isn't a race to go viral. It's your opportunity to actually make a big enough connection where people buy from you. And, I talked about this in the last episode. Stop tying your worth to, in this case for Instagram, how many followers you have, and stop comparing others' growth to your own. Some folks are just doing things with the end goal to see those vanity numbers. A lot of people just want to see the likes. And I'm not going to lie, I like seeing likes too. But you know what I like more? Private DMs from people saying how much my message made an impact, and them inquiring about my services, them building a connection with me because what I said really helped them see life or their business differently. I made an impact on them, because those are the people who buy from you, not the people who are liking your stuff. That double tap is vanity metrics. Half the time I just double tap out of pity. Do you want pity double taps, or do you want a thoughtful DM from someone who actually wants to buy from you? Because personally, I like those DMs. I do understand that followers is a thing that makes you look sexy on Instagram, but there are so many people with 1,000 or less followers who are making hundreds of thousands and sometimes $1,000,000. It doesn't matter. Stop tying your worth to how many followers you have, and stop comparing yourself is what I really want you to focus on. Because I know those vanity numbers look good, but at the end of the day, you're just looking for validation, which is really tied back to your worth based on followers. And that's not what's even important. When I stopped worrying so much about having perfect hair or what clothes I was wearing, and just started showing up on social media regularly to serve my clients, that's when my content actually started getting all these people reaching out to me in my DMs to work with me, applying for my programs. The more I promoted them, I was getting invited to speaking engagements at summits. I get invited to a podcast every week now. That stuff wasn't happening before when I was doing cute graphics, and it definitely wasn't happening because of how my hair looked. No one was ever like, "Oh my God, your hair was so beautiful. I would love to have you speak." No one's ever like, "Oh my God, you have 6,000 followers. Now I want to work with you." That's not a thing. I want you to actually focus on creating the right kind of content in the right medium to actually attract followers who buy instead of followers who just lurk. Authenticity is what gets me speaking engagements. And those speaking engagements actually attract high ticket clients. So if you're the kind of person who's like, "Well, how are all these people, how are your competitors getting all these damn speaking engagements?" It's because they're showing up on video and they're being themselves. Most of them, I'm not saying all of them. There's a lot of them who are doing all that extra. You know why people typically do extra? To overcompensate for shortcomings. You know those competitors that you're like, that person's work isn't even good. They haven't gotten any real results. They're not even making that much money that they're saying they're making every month. That's why they have to be so loud. That's why they have to be so extra. Do you need to be extra? Because if you're good, you don't have to be extra. The most rich men in the world, if you look at some of the biggest, like, old dude from Facebook, I don't know, I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, dude from Facebook, you see how he just wears like his little white t-shirt? The guy from Apple was just wearing like his same, like, shirt and jeans. Those people are too rich to care about focusing on something as minor as a t-shirt or what they're wearing, because their brain power is better served by making billions of dollars for their companies. Do you want to spend a lot of time worrying about your lipstick color, or do you want to show up on video one time and get 5 high ticket clients that are paying you $1,500 a month, right? Because for me, honestly, I would rather spend more time focusing on my content strategy and building a connection than worrying about how I look. I'm not saying I don't show up. I have lipstick on every time, but that lipstick takes 2 seconds. I have lipstick in my drawer. I pop it on really quick. It's a 16-hour wear. I'm only doing that one time and I'm done and I'm good and I'm set. And now I feel confident enough to show up. But if you need a full face of makeup, then we got to really look at why you're showing up. Are you showing up to impress? Are you showing up to actually sell your high ticket services? Because if you're showing up to sell, then none of that stuff matters. My old coach has her little scrunchie in her hair and she's just showing up doing her thing. She's not wearing a friggin' ball gown to show, to do what she has to do. And that girl makes bank. I was like, well, if she can do that looking how she's just looking like a normal person, then I can show up too. And you know what? You can. And then think about what's really happening. Because when you hold yourself back from showing up and doing content, then you're hurting your actual Instagram profile. Because what people do, all of those old, if you actually start to show up on video, those old videos actually sit there and it's walking people through a full buyer's journey. So in my case, I get invited to speaking engagement because a lot of times they're like, oh, I looked at your account and I was watching all of your videos and I love what you did on this one video. I would love to have you speak at my, summit about X, Y, and Z. All those old videos that I have on my account also walks potential people who might buy from me through their buyer's journey, because that's how my content strategy works. And so they're already super duper warm and ready to buy. And when I open up spots, they're like, okay, I'm in. Let me talk to you. My current coach, Jerisha, she has us do something called a money messenger prompt, where you just basically put out there, like, I'm looking for X number of people for my program. If you're interested, drop me a line. I could never just ask that for a $4,500, service if I wasn't doing enough content that made them feel ready to buy something at that price point. Now you can have a $50 ebook and say, buy this today, and 10 people might buy it. But okay, so you got $500, but I get one client and that's $4,500. Do you want $500 or do you want $4,500? Because if you want that $4,500, then you got to do the right kind of content that's going to get that. And it can't be because you're too afraid to show up on Instagram and on video to show your face. So I hope that this kind of helped you to really start to reframe how you're thinking when it comes to showing up on Instagram and specifically showing up on video. We all know that reels are what's popping. If you show up on live, you get to move to the front of the line. And what I mean by that is, if you ever look at those little bubbles at the top of your Instagram where you can see the stories, you see the same 10 people, right? But then whoever shows up live, you see them too, and they go first. Do you want to be first in line, or do you want to be some random bubble that's at the end of the line? Because I don't make it past the first 10 people's stories. I only watch the same 10 people because those are the stories I engage with the most. And so that's what Instagram keeps showing me. So if you want to move to the front of the line, live is what's going to get you there. And if you're not brave enough to show up on live, recording IGTV. I'm going to dive into like Instagram content and video marketing funnels in a later episode, because these are the things that help people make decisions about you when you're sleeping. People buy from me while I'm asleep. People reach out. I get so many DMs from someone who binged watch. Like, you can see them liking and engaging with like really old videos. And by the time they're done, I'm like, damn, that person's going to buy from me like tomorrow. And they do. And you know why? Because they had so much great content to go through. One of the best things that Netflix does is to allow you to just keep watching stuff over. Like, they put out an entire season of a show, and it makes them really successful because one of the things that millennials and zillennials, the problem with our generations is that we're not very patient because our generation hasn't had to be like our parents and grandparents before us. So because they know about instant culture, they know when they put out a season to drop the whole thing because people will sit on their platform all day and all night. And I do this with every show that I like that's on Netflix. I will sit and I'm like, okay, Fridays is when it's dropping. And Friday to Saturday morning, I'm not talking to anybody. I want you to be that person for your Instagram account. I want someone to not go to your competitor's account, see what they got going on. I want them to sit on your account all day and watch all your stuff. And they're not looking at your hair. They don't care about your outfit. They don't care that you said the word 10 times in the video. But if you said in between dropping that hot stuff, that hot knowledge that they really needed, that's what they're going to remember. So many times I have lipstick in my teeth when I'm in the middle of talking, doing a story, but I already said something really good. I'm not going to go back and re-record that. This isn't reality TV where the producer is standing there and saying, what did you guys say? You're arguing. Can you have that argument again so I can get it on camera? No. Say what you got to say. They're listening. They're listening now. You don't have to re-record it. It's okay to be a human being. My kid pops up in my videos all the time. I don't just go and re-record and act like he didn't exist. I'm like, my kid sucks right now. Here he is. And I'm like shooing him away while I continue doing my video. For the mom who's running her business and thinking, God, I can't show up on video because my kid keeps running in the camera. She's going to see my video and be like, thank goodness someone's kid just ran in the friggin' middle of her video and she just kept going. I can do that too. When you start showing up as yourself, your authentic self, you will find those ride or die fans who love you because of who you are. And it's so much easier to just be yourself because that takes the energy out of you having to show up to impress. And now you can put all that energy in actually serving your clients for these high ticket and premium services, or actually putting out content that resonates and that actually gets you clients. I sound really aggressive because I'm pissed. I'm like, stop trying to impress people on Instagram and sell your doggone stuff. I hope this inspired you because I'm telling you, I have so many speaking engagements and guest coaching spots that I get paid for, summits that I'll be speaking at that I'll get to hit a wider audience than I ever would have been able to. And it's all because I started showing up authentically and stopped worrying about impressing people. And that's my goal, is not impression. It's not, I'm not doing a little song and dance to make you clap for me. I'm doing my song and dance to make an impact. And that means I need to just show up and serve with information, not with beautiful hair. Now, occasionally I show up looking good, but that's not the thing that sold. They weren't like, I love her outfit. What program is she selling? They're like, she is saying something I've never heard before. And then I listen to 5 other videos and she's always serving like this. I want to work with her because if this is her free content, that paid content has to be amazing. And that's the truth. It is. And that's why they work with me. And that's why they're going to work with you. This is what I teach in my group coaching program called the Revolutionary Brand, is specifically how to show up on video to build and leverage brand authority, because that's how you build trust with your ideal clients. And that's how you learn to be able to easily sell your high ticket and premium services without having to overwork yourself, because you don't have to take on too many clients, because you're able to sell at a much higher price point. I started showing up on video in June of not June, probably like May, like hardcore showing up in May, maybe the tail end of April of 2020. In June, I hit a $16,000 month. I had my first few live events, which were all video. By September, I had my first multi-5-figure. It was a $24,000 month. I'm at a $20,000 month right now, and it's the 22nd of the month. I've had, 5-figure months for, 6 months at a time, like straight. I'm just letting you know that that was only possible because I increased my prices. And the only reason why people were buying it is because I was doing video content. I can guarantee it, because I wasn't doing anything else. I don't post a lot to my feed because I'm busy. I'm running a bigger business now because now it's popping, right? That's a great thing, but I'm busy. So I'm too busy to make all the graphics and stuff. But what I can do is show up on video that I can repurpose on all these other channels. And this is what I teach. I'm like, show up on video. Let me tell you how to build brand authority using video. You don't have to impress them on Instagram with your face and with your speech patterns, because I don't know what people are thinking. People are judging you by how you talk. Who cares? What you need to care about is the fact that showing up on video is actually what's going to sell your services at those higher prices so that you can stop overworking. I was able to cut off all of my other offers, my low ticket offers, and just focus on that while I wanted to, because I could work less and I could sell it at a higher price point. And that's what I wanted. Now I don't have to overwork. This is why I teach in the Revolutionary Brand. If you are interested, the next round of the Revolutionary Brand is starting in April. I only launch these cohorts once every few months, and we're in that program for 3 months. It's a 3-month program where I'm teaching you how to build and leverage brand authority so that you can easily sell your high ticket services without overworking, without underpricing yourself, without having to take on too many clients. I have had so much success in my business and with my one-on-one coaching clients, which is why I created this coaching program. And if you're interested in looking into that program, it's revolutionarybrand.co. Check it out. It's exciting. There's already somebody in this next round starting in April. I'll be talking about it on my Instagram account, which you'll hear at the end of the episode so that you can follow me. But I really, really am proud. And there's so many great testimonials on that landing page. If you go to revolutionarybrand.co, you can check it out because there are so many situations where people are like, I had my first 5-figure month. I changed my prices yesterday and I've already gotten a client at the new price point. I had a client that hit 6 figures in her business in 8 months because she started showing up on video really early on when I asked her to. So if you're not at this place in your business where you're hitting multiple 5 figures without having to work with, 20, 30, 40 people, then check out this program because it's the thing that you need. And it's what I do in my own business. I don't teach you things that I haven't done. I'm taking you guys on my exact same journey. I'm helping you make it your own. I'm not telling you when to go on and how to go on, but I'm helping you create the right kind of content through video so that you can actually sell your high ticket services. You're not struggling. I close over 90% of my sales calls. 90%. And I told you guys before, I'm not an expert salesperson, so I'm doing something right. So check it out. If you love this episode as much as I have, then subscribe to the Revolutionary CEO podcast on iTunes and leave me a review to let me know what you enjoyed the most. For premium pricing and branding tips and training, connect with me on Instagram. I'm at Atelier Latesha. That's ATELIERLATESHA. And be sure to follow the podcast Instagram account at Revolutionary CEO to show my guests and me some love. Talk to you next week.